Welcome to the Luke Branquinho Show. I'm excited to speak to our next guest. We're going to visit about going up and down the rodeo road, the trials and tribulations. This guy is a 12-time NFR qualifier, I believe 13 with this year, 2013 world champion calf roper. You know, this guy has over $2.2 million in career earnings. Shane Hanchey, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Luke. I always looked up to you and what you've done in the rodeo world, and anytime I get a call from you, I'm going to answer it.
Well, man, I appreciate it. And I can remember the first year at the national finals where you roped the extras. And I'm like, man, who's this kid? And just wiry and scrappy. And they're like, yeah, you know, this kid, he can get it on, but he's never going to make it because he doesn't have the size. And to see what you have done and accomplished and proved those people wrong, it's been an amazing journey for me to watch for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday, roping the extras in 2008 and 2009 at the finals. And I mean, I wanted to rope the extras because I wanted to know what it was going to feel like when I backed in there for the big money. A lot of people thought I wanted to rope the extras just so I could get a feel for the Thomas and Mack and tell people back home in Louisiana that I roped in there. I never let those guys affect me one way or the other. I knew what kind of horse I had at the time. I knew that he was going to help me on my size difference, and that's the kind of mentality I took going forward, and here we are. I will say this, that the lights are a hell of a lot brighter during the perf than they are when you're roping extras, but it's all good.
Sam Duval and I had this conversation, how selfish of a lifestyle it is to be the champion that you need to be in the rodeo arena, and talking about that and going up and down the road, and like I said, the trials and tribulations. Every year is different, but really every year is similar, isn't it?
One thing that I would like to say is I haven't really looked back on it until this year, but it's been 13 straight, so consecutive national finals. So the longevity for me, I've been very fortunate on staying healthy. And like you said, you know, every year's got different trials and tribulations, but at the end of the day, they're all the same. I mean, it's how you bounce back from adversity. It's how you handle not getting upright. It's how you handle not being able to get traded. I mean, it's how you handle blowing out a tire, running a wheel off. I mean, it's all the same. It's grown me as a person, you know, rodeoing as a whole, and to be able to accomplish what I've accomplished is great inside the arena. But I think now, dude, my work ethic is stronger. Woke up this morning and the first thing I want to do is rope, and I went and roped on 2 young horses at 8 o'clock, and I'm ready to get back after it this evening. You know, it's just something that's always drove me to be who I am is roping. I've always just tried to stay even keel, you know, if I'm doing good or if I'm not doing good, just knowing that it's going to turn around one way or the other if you keep at them.
It's when you quit and give up is when things don't go how planned. And an example of it, 2 weeks before the national finals last year, lost a great, animal athlete, a horse that you've had tons of success on, and it's still tough. You bounced back and had a good national finals.
Yeah, I mean, I would say good with a very, very lowercase g. I was able to win the first round, and yeah, I mean, what I went through 2 weeks before that, and you got to know, Luke, I mean, that horse wasn't mine. I mean, he belonged to Logan and Maynard Bird. They've been so fortunate to let me ride their horses, and I'll tell you what, that was the hardest phone call I've ever had to make to both of them guys, you know, saying that their best horse, their prized possession was no longer here due to a heart attack. And I'd had such a great year, was going in number one again, just knew that I had a very good chance of getting another gold buckle. And you know as well as anybody that one of these ain't enough. I mean, I wake up every day trying to figure out how I'm going to get the next one. And, for 7 days, I mean, I didn't even want to rope. And then something told me one day, hey, Logan's got another great horse. This is kind of how the story is supposed to be written. And I'd only run about 4 or 5 calves on him. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of stressing out, trying to figure out what I'm going to ride. Let's ride Peso. And if you'd have told me I was going to win the first round, man, I'd have told you it's crazy as hell.
You're not afraid. You're not pride of ownership. You know you have a good one. You could ride them wherever you need to win. But when that one there that is better or you feel like you could win more, you'll leave yours tied up. And I think that holds a lot of guys back, that pride of ownership.
Yeah, you know, that's something that I learned when I was a kid. Growing up, I probably didn't have the best horses, and I tried to rope on them and ride them anyway, and I really didn't win much. And I remember when I was a kid and I first got to ride Riata, Buck, who owned him, that my brother worked for, he said, now you're going to have to pay me mount money. I said, yes, sir. I said, I figured that. And he said, but I'll tell you one thing right now. I said, yes, sir. He said, 25% of something's a whole lot more than 100% of nothing. Ever since then, it's stuck with me, and you're damn right. If there's one better and I got a good calf, I'll tie my rope onto whoever will let me.
Well, and that's something I've always tried to tell kids at my clinics or guys rodeoing, that have a horse. They may have paid a lot. Hell, I've done it. I've spent almost $100,000 on a horse that I knew would help me get to the national finals. Well, why didn't I ride him there? Because he wasn't the one I felt like I could win on there. There were a lot of horses that were winners in that building. Maybe I didn't ride them all year, but you have to make smart decisions when it comes to that and give yourself the best opportunity, because you as well as anybody know this sport that we love and do, there's no guarantees.
It's a lot like managing a team. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know who you need to ride, you know what's probably best for you, and that just comes down to trusting yourself. And it's a young man's game, so any kind of leg up I can get on these kids is what it takes.
Well, Shane, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Best of luck to you and everything you got going. We'll be rooting for you to get that gold buckle. Like you say, one's never enough, and neither's two. You just keep rolling at them and keep your foot down to the pedal, man.
All right, man. I appreciate the time, the opportunity. I'll come on this show anytime.
I appreciate it. Good luck to you.